Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Home Spun Yak. It's been a while since we've done an episode. Kyle and I have been absolutely swamped with all kinds of different things. Kyle's been curing all kinds of diseases and trying to figure out different physics problems. And I texted him, I was like, hey, dude, we're supposed to be on our schedule. And he was like, fuck off, dude. I'm trying to solve the world's problems. So this was the earliest possible time before he goes back to his physics equations and figures out the world's problems. So anyway, I apologize on his behalf.
Yeah, well, apology accepted. I
It wasn't to you.
Well, it should have been.
Narcissist much?
No, we have been busy, and we're back and in the full swing of things. And yeah, lots been going on. We're both fully vaxxed up. Both got hit pretty hard after the second dose, and at least that's over with now. Yeah, and
until the third dose.
Until the third dose next year, get re-upped.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will not do, but I'll be quite frank with you. I'm not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
I'm definitely glad I did it, obviously. And, I feel better going forward. And if everybody can get on the same page, I think maybe we won't have to go through what we went through last year and first part of this year so far. So hopefully that's all that extremity is behind us in that regard. But the world continues to rain down just shit news on a global scale.
Trying to figure out which one you're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about the recent announcement of the Super League.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk to me about Caitlyn Jenner.
Well, no, again, that's a part of it as well. Caitlyn Jenner is meeting with her team to discuss whether or not she's going to run for governor of California.
Right. So, yeah. I was actually going to talk to you about that too. I was going to get your opinion if I should run for the governor of California, since you're 100%. Part of my team. So
I mean, imagine being on Caitlyn Jenner's team. I mean, what does that entail? What would you how exactly be?
Yeah. How fast
in that team?
How do you get? I mean, it's just an opinion. Should you run? Yeah. Sure. Okay.
We're mulling it over with our team.
Exactly.
And we'll get back with you with the answer's no. The answer's don't do it, please. We're barely hanging on as a nation, as a world, as a people in general. If that happens, it's just California's just gone. It's gone for good. Yeah. Not that it's not in a good place now. It's definitely not. But sixth largest economy in the world. But people have been moving away from California in droves, and businesses and famous people. Obviously, we've covered Joe Rogan and the exodus of people like him.
The Texodus.
The Texodus, exactly. Yeah. That's a good one. But it would seemingly be fitting, if she were to run and ultimately win. It's the height of absurdity to me. It's like why not push it as far as we can go, as absurd as we can go. I mean, we had Trump as president. I mean, the door is wide open for just pure insanity at this point.
Yeah, I think you're going to see people with pickaxes and shovels go along the California border and trying to just dig low enough to just have it just break off.
I know. We got to build a wall against California now.
Oh, God, that would be so funny. But you're right. Things have really turned for the worse, especially over the last year. I mean, so many people have left California. The ship will eventually correct itself as all the consequences. I don't know if you watched or listened to the podcast of JRE with where they talk about homelessness and stuff like that in California and how much money. I think it was with Colion Noir, where they talk about the amount of money that the government invests in homelessness. And it's like, it's close to, like, we're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars to billions of dollars into homelessness in like Los Angeles. You know, like,
Oh yeah,
like,
just in one city.
yeah, like insane amounts of money. And it really makes you wonder, like, I didn't have an answer. Like, where'd the money go? Where did this money go? And they like broke it down, like, just, you know, basic math. They were like, what if we just gave every single homeless person money out of this, like, hundreds of millions of dollars? And it turned out it was like, they'd have like $400,000 or something like that. Like stuff that could like easily, I mean, I know that you can't throw money at them, you know, obviously, because then they're
Right.
going to do all kinds
Mental
of other
health
stuff.
and-
Yeah, of course. But the point being, like, it's just so much money. Anyway, that's a side point, but it's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's just, I think I saw a little bit of that, but yeah, it's just people want to just throw money at issues, and at the end of the day, like,
Someone's
money.
taking it.
Yes, yeah. And where is it coming from? Where is it going? What are the actual results? Because it actually seems like homelessness, certainly in California, but really everywhere. I mean, I've even noticed an uptick around where I am, you know, of homeless encampments just in random areas of the woods off the highway, places I never really even noticed before 2020, you know, and it's like, it's not just increasing there, it's increasing everywhere. And if you can't show us where this money's coming from, what exactly it's going towards, and what the positive results of, then it's not working, and we got to find a better solution. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's the same thing with like the gun situation, because I guess he's a big NRA guy, and they talked about that with all the shootings that have been going on recently. I mean, they've never really stopped, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, you keep throwing gun control at it, and it really doesn't work because we got more guns than people in this country. I mean, the guns are already here. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, if you ban guns, it's like, people are just gonna, the guns are gonna just disappear now that you've banned guns, or people are just gonna be like, I turn my weapons over to the government. Like, that's just like the most like un-American thing to its core, Second Amendment core anyway, that people owning guns would ever do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a conflict of ideas, and people who, you know, in Washington think they know what's best, but they haven't lived a day in these people's shoes. So it's just like, we got the wrong people focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah. We don't even need to go down the political sphere, because I mean, we've
Trash.
talked.
I mean, I'm not voting ever again. I'm with you. I'm just never going to vote again, because it does not fucking matter at all.
No.
Not one bit. And
No.
I will proudly say that for the rest of my life, because I don't believe in one person in Washington or in this state, really. I mean, I don't care. Every politician is out to benefit themselves only, and to just deepen their pockets and say whatever the people who pay them want them to say. So I'm done. I'm completely done. I don't believe in the system anymore. I mean, I love the country, and I believe in our country. Not to say that I'm like giving up on America, because I'll never do that. It's just so meaningless to the individual. To think that they care about you is just absurd. I'm not going to give them any amount of my thought, my time, my money, nothing.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. On that very same podcast, Joe was talking about how Nancy Pelosi has made like hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's like, from what? How?
Yeah.
Right? You're a public servant. We know how much money you make, and somehow your investing is so good, or something is happening where you're able to make hundreds of millions of dollars. That is stunning. That's stunning. But yes, I completely agree with you. I mean, you know how I feel about the whole situation. So anyway, yeah, short synopsis. Didn't want to go too much off on a tangent there, but California is going through some interesting stuff. But yeah, I actually didn't get to read too much into this European Super League or whatever, but
Yeah.
it seemed really interesting. I saw something on, I guess, what was it? Right, the German national team. They were like denouncing this like Super
Yeah.
League. So what is it? Like what's going on with that?
Well, I think this is why I'm so fired up, really, is because of this and
Okay.
just how it just highlights how much money and greed really plays into really the way that things are run and the things that, are going to continue to happen across the world. And this is probably the biggest sports news of my lifetime, to be
Wow.
honest with you. Like,
Wow.
certainly the biggest soccer news ever.
That's stunning.
Yeah, maybe ever, really. When you really truly sit back and think about it. And basically, what happened, um, and this could take a while. So I don't know if you're
Let
really interested or not,
No,
but
we're going into it. I mean, I could tell that you were really interested in this. I am down.
yeah, I'm
I'm
amped up
down.
because of this, and it just came out. It didn't really come out of nowhere because there's been murmurings of something like this for the past few years, but
Hmm.
just the suddenness of the news, which broke yesterday, which was there are 12 teams in Europe who secretly conspired, secretly met with one another and decided we're going to create our own league. And there's going to be 20 teams total, um, 15 of which will be permanent. They'll never go away in this league. Five every year will compete to be the remaining five, right? And it's going to be a total of 20, and it's going to be a system of two different divisions, sort of like NBA. It's actually, they based it on the NBA system. It says it right there in the description. Two different leagues, like a East and a West. Probably won't be called that, but 10 each in each particular division. And they're going to play a regular season. Um, and it's going to be midweek games because right now with each European league, the games are either on a Saturday or Sunday, and they're like, "Oh, you'll still be in your leagues, but you'll also play these games in the midweek as well."
Oh, okay.
So,
So it's double the work for the players
well,
then.
it's already like, especially in England with the Premier League, you have the Premier League games, which, like I said, Saturday, Sunday usually.
Hmm.
Then if you're in the Champions League, which would be you're in the top four from last season, progress to the Champions League, which is a European league of the best teams. You're playing midweek, like, once or twice a month, pretty regularly, but it's a smaller tournament. It's like 32 teams at the beginning, and then it whittles down to, obviously the final, which right now we're in the semifinal stage of the Champions League right now. And then you have like the FA Cup, which is like every team in England gets to compete in that. And that's sporadic games. So they already have a stacked schedule, and now they want to add the Super League for these top tier teams. And the way it would go is you play a full season in the Super League, and then you get ranked based on your record, like the NBA, and then you're the seed, whatever. And like the top like 6 or 8 teams in each division go to a playoff system. So you play each other, and then the final two teams win. Um, but it's just in the 12 teams that have band together now, secretly, and have gone against UEFA, FIFA, their independent country leagues,
Yeah.
are Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal in England. In Italy, it's Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan. And then in Spain, it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. So there's still 3 teams, and they've invited PSG, Bayern Munich, and Dortmund to be the last remaining 3 teams to make it 15 that are permanent. You don't get you'll never be knocked out, and you're constantly playing each other throughout the season.
So
And then
none of
the
the
other
big
5,
names then.
yeah, none of the big, yeah, only the big names. And I'm wearing my PSG shirt because
Yeah,
they
I
have
saw.
said fuck the Super League, and I'm 100% with them. Now, I don't know if that will stay true, but as this current moment right now, it is. Bayern, same thing. Dortmund, I imagine the same thing, because in Germany, the way the Bundesliga was founded was that no sole individual or company could own more than 49% of a team. 51%, at least, of Bayern are owned by the fans.
Okay. So it's like the Packers
So,
model, sort of.
yeah, exactly. It's more like the Packers with that model. So ultimately, the fans can get together and decide, do we want to be a part of this Super League or not? And the overwhelming majority of true fans, at least in the Premier League, pretty much all of Europe, are vehemently against this Super League. And basically, what happened to create the Super League was that all the owners of these individual clubs, because it's a group or one owner that owns these 12 teams right now, um, yeah, they just conspired behind the backs of UEFA and their fans. No one knew. And they just said, we're doing this. Um, and they have the financial backing of JP Morgan, which is prepared to give them a loan of $3.5 billion to go through with this, to be spread amongst the top 12 teams or whatever it is right now, which conveniently enough covers all of their debts that they lost during the pandemic of having no fans and having no revenue. So under the guise of a pandemic, they took advantage of this, of no fans, no pushback at the stadiums, you're not even allowed in still, to go ahead and undercut what really the sport's all about, is fans and the players. Undercut anything the coaches didn't even know. No one knew but the owners. Each team just put out a thing on Twitter. You can look on all these clubs' Twitter, and they're like, announcement for Super League. I mean, and in the bottom it says plans to start August 2021. So it's this year. It's 4 months away.
Wow.
And it was like, this is pretty much going to happen.
Yeah.
And so now, like the Premier League, the UK government, FIFA, UEFA, they're all saying, like, don't do this. If you do this, then we're going to kick you out of the Premier League. Like, we're going to kick Manchester United out of the Premier League. We're going to relegate you. We're going to kick you out of the Champions League. Like, right now, Manchester City and Chelsea are 2 of the 4 semifinalists of this current Champions League. And UEFA, and then Real Madrid are in there as well. The only one, PSG, are the only team in the semifinals of the Champions League that are not going to be in the Super League right now. And UEFA have said, we are prepared to just give you PSG the Champions League title right now.
Good gracious.
If you guys continue to go through with this, and you're going to be banned from the Champions League, and you're going to be relegated from your league, and the players on your team won't be able to play for their international teams.
Good
FIFA is now saying.
gracious.
So the Euro Cups are this summer. Euro
Yeah.
Cup is this summer. So that would affect every team pretty much, because like if you're playing for Real Madrid and you're from Croatia or
Yeah.
Spain, you're
Yeah.
on your national team
Yeah.
because you're the best of the best.
Yeah.
Manchester United, same thing. All these teams basically. And it's just like, basically my understanding is the owners of these teams, these venture capitalists, they go, okay, cool. We're
That's
about to make
insane.
bank.
That's
That's all.
insane.
That's all we're here to do is make money.
So it's essentially just these 12 people that have, from the 12, each one
Yeah,
person from each team roughly. And they've made a decision that's going to fuck over all their players, all their coaches, all their fans,
all their fans,
and the
not
national
one,
and the countries
and their
themselves
countries.
and their
Oh yeah,
countries. That
yeah.
is a stunning. That
That
is so stunning.
I know.
That is a
I mean, it is
stunning level of greed.
that is yes. That's the ultimate corporate move. I mean, it does not get more corporate greed than that. It is. It is to
No.
spit in the face of. So people just have to remember that all of these leagues um, that are involved so far, which is Spain, Italy, and England, these clubs have a history that span longer than some of, you know, our states in this country have been a state. So there's true tradition and true history built into the fabric of these clubs that people have, that are a part of people's lives. They're a part of people's culture, and that are a part of people's memory, their identity of who they are. It's not like the Charlotte Hornets are going to a super league and I'm like, "Oh man, that's like my whole life." Like,
Yeah.
no, like and it would suck if they did that, but it's just it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, something with that much tradition and history, you know, comparing it to sports in America, because we don't have those long. I mean, NFL, like, the Packers go back to what, like the 50s, and I mean, it's
Yeah,
long
even before
tradition.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
The-
yeah. I mean, it's a long tradition, NFL and even NBA, but
mhm.
it just pales in comparison to um, a lot of these European clubs, just because of the history and how long they've been around and how important they have been to so many people, and the fact that they don't even consider what the fans might think. They don't need the fans anymore. They've looked at COVID and this pandemic, and they've gone, well, I mean, what if we just we notice in the Champions League, like if like if Juventus play Real Madrid, or Man City plays, Chelsea or something like this, our viewership goes up, and ultimately there's a trickle down effect with all the teams in the Champions League, and then all the teams in the Premier League. There's a trickle down effect with the money, so it gets split up, not necessarily evenly, but it goes down to the lower divisions so that they have enough money to survive and advance. And that's the whole thing about soccer, and what makes why I love it so much is that it's a meritocracy, in that if you do bad, guess what? You got to get relegated to the bottom, to a lower league. And if you do well in that lower league, we'll give you a chance to compete at the highest league and prove yourself there. So you get rewarded. Now there's no incentive at all for these top teams to do that, because they're getting way more money in the Super League now. And it affects the other teams and the smaller teams that have gone bankrupt because of COVID. And it's all only these teams watching out for their own interests now and taking advantage of the pandemic to say, yeah, we could make double or triple what Champions League money, um, gives us, and we don't have to share it with anybody. We don't have to share it with UEFA, and we don't have to share it with like any of these sports networks that show the games, because we're just going to do a deal with like DAZN or something like that. Completely different. We're going to make an app. We're going to make like a Netflix for the Super League, and you have to subscribe for that. And then you get, it's just the amount of ways that they can make money off this are astronomical. And true soccer fans, I think, despise this because it just will ruin the game. It'll make it all about money.
Yeah.
And but they don't care about true fans. They just care about money because they know, your casual fan in America or China will be willing to spend this money because they know these teams' names. That's it. They know Manchester United as a brand. They know AC Milan as a brand, and they go, "Oh, I know those teams. I'll watch those teams. I'll buy this subscription. I'll buy a jersey, whatever. Oh, I get to watch them every week now. Like the best teams, quote unquote, play each other, and it's just sickening because you're doing it to appeal to people who don't truly care about the history of the game and what it has meant to everybody, and what it really stands for. I mean, the fact that Tottenham and Arsenal got in on this is a joke to me, because they wouldn't have. So Tottenham and Arsenal are like in a place in the Premier League now, standing wise, where if it finished today, they wouldn't even qualify for any European competitions because they're that far back from the top four.
Yeah.
So Tottenham just built a brand new stadium, massively in debt for that. And really, I believe that they built that stadium knowing, at least the ownership, knowing that, you know what, like if we really can get the stadium approved and built, it's going to be a world-class stadium in London. That will increase our chances for the potential of a Super League down the road. And we're willing to fuck over all our fans to do it. And because we lost a bunch of money on this, we lost a bunch of money on the pandemic, and maybe this wouldn't have happened if COVID hadn't have come along, at least now. But now the fact that COVID has happened, there hasn't been a single fan in the stadium this entire year. They're like, might as well kick it off now, because in August we're going to have people back. And guess what? We can go to Charlotte and have a game once a month. We can go to LA. We can go to China and have a game. Real Madrid versus, whatever, Arsenal. We can go to London. We can go anywhere in the world now because we don't really care. This is the Super League. There's just no home connection to this at all. And yeah, it's just really uncertain for all the domestic leagues. It's uncertain for FIFA. It's uncertain for UEFA. I mean, will the Champions League exist anymore? Will the World Cup exist anymore? I mean, it's crazy.
So let me get this straight. The reason why they think they're going to make so much money is just because of the brand name, like the name Juventus versus AC Milan, for example. And they think that if every game is like that, that people will want to tune in to watch these teams play. Just, it's always the best teams. It's not like AC Milan versus, I don't know, bumfuck
And
Italy.
even though AC Milan and Inter Milan have sucked the past 10 years, no, they haven't even been close to winning like the Champions League or even their own league. So it's like they have these built-in big brands and history that these people are willing to bet on, that people still know and respect enough that that's when you think of Italian football, you think of AC Milan.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true. So they're banking on that being something where people will be like, just like I said, the casual fan, which is way higher in number than a diehard fan, I
Right.
think.
I gotcha.
So they're just and then you throw that and you get that involved in China, in this country. I mean, they could care less. I mean, the owner of Manchester United hasn't been in Manchester in over 2 years. He doesn't care.
No.
Why would he care?
But the idea is still to have fans come back then. But
Right.
that
Oh
they
yeah, you make yeah. I mean, open up the gift shops. You make money off fans, definitely. But
yeah.
then you have your own TV deal too,
And then
your own subscription deal.
you just travel
That's
around like a
available.
circus then.
Oh yeah, it'll
Okay.
come to that. Yeah,
I
yeah, it'll
gotcha.
come to that. Yeah, because maybe at first it'll just be like we're got to go to Italy to play, Inter Milan, or they're coming here to Manchester to play us.
Right.
But then why not? If they go, well, you're kicked out of the Premier League or you're kicked out, now you have the whole entire week just for one game. Let's go to Australia and play in front of, like, let's fill up a cricket stadium or whatever, 100,000 people in Australia or China or something, and get all the revenue from the people physically there buying all the gear, because the casual fan will just want to remember that, and understandably buy as much swag as you can.
Sure.
Um, Spend money on hotel. I mean, it's just the amount of money. I mean, I understand as far as like making money goes. Like, I'm not, you can't at the end of the day be that surprised when these owners, when you look at their history and what they really are. It's like,
Yeah.
this is simply a business, guys. Like, we don't we're here to make money. Like, make no mistake. Like, we want to win, but we also are gonna we're gonna fill our pockets with money if we can. And just the fact that it was just like, so it was just announced yesterday, and it was like, this is what it is, deal with it. No one knew. And then Jurgen, like, Liverpool had a game today, and their coach Jurgen Klopp, like, was bombarded with questions, and I just felt so bad for him, because he's employed by these people, but they didn't tell him. He found out through a tweet, like, and he's getting questions about everything, and he's trying to be like, let's wait till the information comes out. Like, I don't want to, like, bash on my bosses, but clearly I'm not in favor of this. I've mentioned it before in the past that I don't want a super league. We already have the Champions League. The beauty of the Champions League is, yeah, it's the best teams, but it's the top teams in each division in Europe.
Right.
So
Yeah.
one year, like, Ajax can make a run in the Netherlands and beat a big team, or like Porto in Portugal won the Champions League one year as like the heavy underdogs. That just never will happen again. Like the
No, not with
story
the
of an
Super League.
underdog.
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because they're limiting it to those 20 teams, and 15 of them are going to be these massive teams.
Just
So,
permanent every
yeah,
year.
yeah,
Doesn't
which is
change.
another aspect that's totally unfair.
Yeah, it doesn't change. I mean, it is just like the NBA. I mean, the NBA is fine how it is because that's the way it was established. That's how we know it. Obviously, we've talked about like American sports like NFL and NBA. Like, could there ever be a relegation system like that? And it's like, I mean, that'd be fun to think about, but we just don't have it, the infrastructure. It's not set up that way that it makes sense like that.
Yeah,
So it's fine how it is. But with soccer, it's like we've this is how it was built. You can't just like change it and just expect things to also carry on as normal. Like the Premier League's going to be like, that's fine. Like, yeah, you be in that and you earn way more money, and we don't get a dime of it. Like, FIFA and UEFA are, they're as corrupt as it gets. So I'm not like, poor UEFA, poor FIFA, because guess what? The next World Cup's in Qatar, and all those stadiums were built by slave labor. So
uh,
it's like there's always going to be corruption on a level of that money,
sure.
amount of money. But yeah, they were caught off guard. Everybody was like, "Holy shit! this is happening, and it's happening in 4 months. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, and I haven't really heard opinions on a lot of players. Like a PSG player came out, you know, made a statement about it, like strongly against it. But, obviously he could because PSG are against it. So you just wonder. I mean, obviously it's corporate greed. It's JP Morgan who's backed it and made it all happen. So it's kind of like American corporations to blame, but I'm sure that China has had a hand in this as well. I can't not imagine that China isn't like all for this and will help you make this happen because yeah, you want us on your team for this basically.
Yeah.
And the 5 teams could be like from anywhere in the world, maybe
Yeah.
that's how they want to do it. Like, oh, we'll let in FC Shanghai or like FC Beijing in one year, and then like I don't know if that's going to be the way it works, but they've invited to round out the teams, the 15. They've invited Dortmund, Bayern, and PSG, which so far looks like they're not going to go along with it, which is good. But some of the owners, so the owner of Arsenal is Stan Kroenke, who also he's the owner of Kroenke Sports and Entertainment,
Okay.
which owns Arsenal FC, Arsenal Women's Football Club, the Los Angeles Rams, the Denver Nuggets, and the Colorado Avalanche.
What?
Yeah.
And then this person's thinking, I could use some more money. Like when you have that kind of money, you don't even know what to spend it on, and yet
No, you just have to keep going. You just whatever comes. He's worth 8.5 billion right now, and that'll go up. I saw Manchester United stock went up today a little bit. Um, but yeah, now he owns the Colorado Rapids MLS team, and then he owns two new like gaming teams, which is like obviously gaming is becoming a
like
big thing.
esports.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Owner of, let's see, Manchester United also owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joel Glazer.
Okay.
And then the owner of Liverpool, principal owner of Liverpool and the Boston Red Sox. Might have heard of them. And then the Boston Globe as well.
Wow.
And a racing team, like a NASCAR racing team as well. All 3 of those guys are American, by the way, and do all their business, obviously, out of the comfort of wherever they live in America, because they're definitely not going to live in Manchester or Liverpool.
Right.
And then the owner of Chelsea is a Russian oligarch who fled Russia in the 90s before Putin could, I don't know, kill him or prosecute him or whack him because he was big in oil and billionaire there.
Right.
And then the owner of Man City is a sheikh from, I believe, Saudi Arabia, which is, I'm not sure what a sheikh Mansour is, like a title. I'm not sure if it's like a sir in the Arab world, but he's, of course, an oil tycoon, billionaire. So these people are, they're men of the people, you could say.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's an apt description.
Yeah, they're on the streets. They've got the vibe of the people, what the people want, and it's just, yeah, it's a sad day for soccer. I mean, and then Tottenham, right after the news broke that they were a part of it, they fired their manager Jose Mourinho. Um, just I don't know if that was a smokescreen tactic, but um, or
Because
if
he
he
disagreed or
or
something, or
I don't know. I'm sure he disagrees wholeheartedly with it. Just if I had to guess,
or they're like,
obviously
we're
they
going to
weren't.
get back on the right track now.
Yeah, he wasn't even the coach for a whole year, really. I don't think. Maybe it's been 1 year, but yeah, they weren't doing well. But they're coming up in a championship game, and then they just fired him. And so I don't know if there's any connection at all with that, but it was convenient timing there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Arsene Wenger, the former coach of Arsenal, when they had Thierry Henry and they actually won trophies, came out and he's been against this from the start, even when people were talking about it years ago, and he thinks it won't happen. Um, but really, the vibe that I'm getting from these owners is like they've made up their mind and they're just like, yeah, go ahead and put this press release out, like, and then you get this entire backlash from fans, from governments, from soccer international bodies, from fans, from everybody.
Yeah.
um, and they're just like, oh, I mean, it already happened, like we already made it, we already made the deal happen.
Well, I'm
So
I'm curious with the pressure, especially from like FIFA, where they if the players feel like they can't be part of this fractionated system, where they feel like I mean, if they want to be part of the World Cup and want to be part of the Euro Cup and all that, and actually have that part of their legacy, then they have to join. They have to be part of the league that's actually going to allow them to participate in all that. So I wonder if, in that regard, like the players having an impact in terms of like once our contracts are up. I don't know how it works exactly
well,
in
yeah.
soccer, but if they end up leaving because they like if you let's say you're Messi, right? Messi has had this issue of like not winning the World Cup, so people like wonder, is he the best ever, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming Ronaldo went through the same thing, but um, like if you play for that Super League, let's say for 10 years, and you win a lot in that Super League, everybody's always going to put the asterisk next to your name and be like, okay, well, you won in this league, but you haven't won a World Cup. You've never competed on the world stage. So, and that,
Mhm.
I mean, that bothers like really ambitious players. So
Oh yeah.
I imagine that at some point they would want to end up leaving then and join a
Yeah.
system that allows them to do that. And then if you have this this outflux of this efflux of all these players back into the traditional scheme, then all those, they have to go to teams, so those teams get better, and then the quality of play improves back to it's almost like osmosis. It's there. You've got this concentration of great players with these teams, these 12 teams, and then if they decide to leave, then suddenly that super league isn't that
Hmm.
impactful anymore. Everybody's gonna be like, well, this is kind of boring. It feels kind of like an empty shell of what it really is. So I'll be
Yeah.
really curious how that turns out.
Well, that's definitely a good point because
Thank you.
as as a player, as a really good player like a Messi or someone on Real Madrid or Barcelona, you know, growing up you would have watched your home team, whether it's Argentina or Spain, compete in the World Cup, and you would have ambition and desire to play for your country, to represent your country, to be proud to put that shirt on and do that. So there's definitely you know, FIFA bans players in the Super League from playing in the World Cup. The worry of the Super League is that players would leave and join another club to play for England or play for France. Having said that, this loan that JP Morgan is willing to put down for these clubs would provide enough money, in some cases 200, some cases 300 million, depending on what club you are, just right there, right at the jump. And that would enable clubs to go, say I'm like a really good player for Manchester United and I'm making like $180,000 a week playing, which is astronomical right now, even. Um, and then I'm like, well, if I'm not be able to play for the US, like I want to be able to represent my country in the World Cup. Like I want to be able to do that. So I'm really thinking about, you know, playing in the MLS, or I'm thinking about playing in Germany or something like that. You're talking to your manager or something and they go, okay, hold on one second. And they talk to the owner or whoever, the chairman, and they go, well, what would $450,000 a week convince you to stay? And most people would probably say, yeah, I think so. So now with this type of money that they're getting in, they can pay players $500,000 a week
Yeah, but
if they
we've
want.
we've we've also talked about how Messi and these players don't even know what to do with their money. They just like donate it. They don't even know where it goes sometimes. They're
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
fuck
And
it. So
I don't
if
think that, yeah. And like for a lot of people, I don't think that would be, it's like, how much money do you really need? Like I can make like half that and be like one of the richest people in the whole area if I go play for Bayern or something like that,
mm,
and have a much more fulfilled life, kind of. But some players wouldn't, so
sure, yeah.
it's just figuring out what would happen, and they're banking on, we're going to have so much money that we can basically tell everybody to go F off, and we can pretty much bank on being able to get whoever we want to get, and telling them like, yeah, but you'll be the richest person ever. Like, and some players that would work on,
Sure,
definitely.
yeah.
But it's just sad because it just really hurts the integrity of the game. And with COVID not having fans there, I haven't really watched a lot as what I normally would, because it's just not the same without the fans. um, as opposed to any other sport, I've noticed it's just such a big difference when it comes to soccer, because you're playing in these big stadiums and it's just empty and it just doesn't feel real. And I don't know. They've just already kind of lost me already. Um, and now with this, it's like I just, you know, it would just be such the corporate bubblegum move. It's just like it's not even real. It's just fake reality shit, and they're gonna have, I guarantee you, because now they have the VAR thing. The replay checks now. So if there's like a potential that the goal was offsides, the ref runs over and reviews the thing like it's like if a coach threw a red flag, essentially, in the NFL. Can take forever, and now you've slowed the game down because there's a VAR check every game that takes forever, and it's like the dude was not offsides, and then they draw this crazy line, and like his pinky was like just above, and they're like, technically he's off, and it's just like, are you shitting me? And now I guarantee you, with VAR in this league, if they have it during the checks, commercial. Let's throw a commercial
Oh
in here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's do this. Let's get a little bit more money.
That's a great point. That's right, because soccer was always known for not having commercials during the game and whatnot. Oh, you're right. They're definitely gonna push that.
Oh, whatever they can do. Yeah, if they get away with this, nothing's off limits. And it's just like, you've ruined the game. You've truly ruined the game for me. And I'll be done. I mean, I'm sure I'll watch the Super League, but I don't know. I'm sure I'll give it a chance, but I just have a bad feeling about it. It's just not fair. Arsenal don't deserve to be in it. Tottenham don't deserve to be in it. AC Milan don't deserve to be in it. nobody deserves to be in a super. I mean, you're just excluding everybody. That's what we already have the Champions League. So I don't know. It's just really shocking to a lot of fans. And I mean, I love Manchester United, the history, the teams, everything, the players, the fans, but it's just such a disconnect that it just won't feel right for me to keep supporting them if they go ahead with this. And yeah, people still have the ability to remove themselves from it. But I just imagine, like, if this news was announced yesterday, like while games were going on, and if there were fans in the stadium when that happened, I mean, the place would have been ripped apart, especially in England. I mean, that the place would have been, everybody would have stormed out just at halftime or whenever people realize, like, what, like, what's going on? Stormed out. So they know what they're doing when they announce this because, you're not going to do anything. We're not making money off fans anyway. So let's do this. By the time August comes around, we'll have fans back. We know that people are going to come. We know you're still going to come. You're still going to watch. So you can complain all day long, but ultimately it's our decision. It's 12 people's decision behind the backs of everybody, A, at their club, and B, everybody who loves their club. I mean, it's ultimate backstabbing, selfish corporate greed move of all time.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. That is really stunning.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, there's new things coming out every day. I mean, it's only been one day, so I mean, I've just been bombarded with because I listen to a lot of different soccer podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff, and it's just been really fascinating to hear everybody's opinion. Former players and pundits and podcast people and just people from all different walks of the game. And it's also been cool to see that bitter rivals like Tottenham Arsenal. That's a heated rivalry. They're actually people of different fans are like reaching out to different podcasts like big Manchester United podcast, like had this guy who has the biggest Liverpool podcast, and they're like always at each other's throats. But this is something that everybody can get behind together and try to come up with solutions and just think through how this is going to impact everybody. And it's been cool to see, everybody kind of come together over this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool.
But yeah, I don't know. We just got to take it every day by day to see what happens. I mean, we might not have a Euro Cup, we might not have a Champions League final, which I would fucking go nuts if that didn't happen. I would really lose it. I would truly lose it.
That's a lot to lose. That's a lot to lose. And having all the national teams too be,
Oh, yeah.
you know what though? Like also keep in mind that if you lose all the great players out of all these these leagues and whatnot, don't you feel like it would help these smaller nations, like I don't know, South Korea or whatever, like do a lot better potentially if they don't have very many players in the in this league?
It could help. You mean like their international team?
Yeah,
Kinda?
exactly. Like they would have a much greater chance.
I mean, their best player plays for Tottenham, and he's their best player for a mile. But I see what you mean, like smaller countries that don't historically do well in those big tournaments. I think that they would definitely have better showings, and do better probably on like a stage of that particular scenario. But
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah,
I want France and Germany to dominate, which I guess they still will because none of their teams are going, but still like
right. But yeah, I mean they might do better, but at the end of the day they might, like, if they were to win it, they might just be like, well, it's kind of an asterisk around that.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
But I don't know. it's too early to say for sure that things like, big tournaments will be canceled, but that's definitely been the threat of FIFA and UEFA. Or they're just like,
You
you're not going
can't
to be
out
allowed to
corrupt
play.
us.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. They got out corrupted. They did. They really
It
did.
did.
And like, you know, it's kind of justice on them in some way because they've screwed over a lot of people too. But definitely caught them by surprise. And I don't know if they can actually, I don't know legally what's allowed. I'm sure there'll be millions of lawsuits, and I can't imagine the headache around that. But yeah, I just wonder like if one side will fold in the end.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see where the cards end up laying. It's like right now, it's like a person just took a deck of cards and just threw it up in the air, and we're still waiting for the cards to kind of fall into where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and all these owners of these clubs were on the board, like the high up board for UEFA, which does the Euro Cup and the Champions League and the
Yeah,
Europa Cup. Um, and they all like jointly yesterday resigned from their posts at
shocking.
UEFA. I mean, they would have been fired anyway, but it's like, whew, we're going for it. Like no care in the world. Like we've
It's not
made
like
this
they can
decision.
backtrack, right? They're gonna be like,
Oh yeah,
they're just,
sorry.
yeah.
They made
So
it
we,
public.
all right. So it wasn't a great idea. Sorry about that. By the way, about
Yeah.
that resignation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, FIFA, all the FIFA executives, literally everybody in their lives are going to be looking at them side eye for the rest of their lives.
Oh
What
yeah.
are
I
you
mean,
up to?
and especially the fans, if they're like, we're sorry, we didn't know it was going to be this big of a backlash, and
Yeah,
we didn't consider the fans, and like we're sorry. Like the fans are going to be like, it's okay. Like you didn't
yeah,
care about us the minute you bought Manchester United or Liverpool or whatever.
yeah.
The whole goal was to make as much money as possible. It's not let's make this
Hmm.
experience better for the fans,
No,
or let's make this, yeah, let's it's just, yeah, we're going to build nicer stadiums, we're going to build better infrastructure, we're going to buy better players, but it's all investments to make us more money, to make our brand more popular, more powerful, more lucrative on a worldwide stage. This has been in the works for years, I'm sure, with these people. And the pandemic just gave them reason to just let's jump on it now before we get people back and before people would burn the stadium down. Let's go ahead and jump on it right now.
I wonder when they made that realization. You know, like at what moment they were like, "This is it. This is our opportunity."
I know.
When hundreds of thousands of people are dying, this is the time to plan
Yes.
this out.
This is the time to make as much money as we
Yeah,
can,
right, exactly.
secure our futures, and you know
Destroy soccer
destroy
as we knew it.
destroy the leagues, basically, as we've known them for well over 100 years.
Yeah, right.
Destroy the system that works so well. Let's destroy it.
Yeah.
And now you've got, I don't know, you've got Leicester City and West Ham now in the top four. Normally they're not in the top four of the Premier League, and they would, and if they finish there, they go to the Champions League. I mean, West Ham hasn't been to the Champions League, and I don't even know if they've ever been.
Yeah.
And it would be just devastating if the Champions League just fell apart and they're just like, so what was that for, really?
Right.
We got fourth place in the first time ever in the Premier League, and we have nothing to show for it.
This is you're talking about they got fourth place even without the banning of those teams, or are you talking about
Well,
in with the
right,
banning of those?
even right now as it stands, I think they're in the top four,
Oh, okay.
even with those teams still in it, like Manchester United and
Okay, so they
Chelsea
fought
and
their way all the way up there, and then
right
they
with
might.
all those teams. But if those teams are removed, yeah, they then jump to like second or third,
Right.
and then it wouldn't even matter anyway because if there wouldn't be a Champions League, I mean, UEFA's not going to be like, yeah, we're gonna have a Champions League and basically Bayern are going to win every year going forward, like
Yeah. Right.
or PSG. It's going to be PSG Bayern final every year
Yeah.
for an eternity,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, like nobody's going to tune in to watch West Ham play, like Atalanta, and it's just like, I mean, I would, I would, but people are going to be like, that's on in the Champions League, but Real
What about
Madrid,
the Super
Manchester
League?
United are on in the Super League, and then
Yeah.
right after that, it's Liverpool, Arsenal. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I know those names. I don't know West Ham. I
Ataka.
don't know Atalanta.
Atlanta. The hell they doing here?
Yeah, I don't know Lazio,
Arezzo.
Parma.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
you're right.
sad day.
So it is kind of a power struggle between the two sides right now. Who's going to end up winning? Because one of them's going to end up collapsing. One of them's going to end up losing their fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think as it stands right now, and I hope this doesn't happen, but I feel like even if UEFA and FIFA hold firm, Super League's just going to press on.
Yeah.
Be like, cool story. My buddy JP Morgan has
Yeah, right.
got a little bit better news for me than you guys.
Yeah.
So
With 3.5 bills.
just up front, just like, you want to be in? Like, yeah, your debt's gone from COVID.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Well, we're in.
Meanwhile, all these other teams in these leagues still have
Smaller
their debt.
teams bankrupt. Oh yeah, I mean, some teams will never be able to come back.
Yeah,
after
they'll
COVID.
be extinct, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's true.
Yeah, that sucks. That's really rough.
Yeah. So I had about, I don't know, 15 and a half years of watching true soccer, and
You're going to be that guy, the old
over.
man.
Yeah.
You don't know what true soccer is.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I imagine we're going to discuss this in the future and just see how things develop, like week by week. And then definitely in August, when they actually start things up.
And I'll have my face painted Real Madrid and a foam finger.
Yeah.
I was behind it the whole time. We're just sponsored by like JP Morgan or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I never said anything bad. I knew this would work.
That one,
for it.
this one episode gets taken down.
Yeah, I don't remember it. Didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Meanwhile, little town of Totti is winning the Premier League or something like that.
Crawley Town.
Yeah. Yeah. That really, I mean, I feel, I mean, I don't feel bad, but I feel that's got to be such a gut check if you're an owner of one of the other teams in the Premier League. That's like a big team, you know, but didn't get invited to this. It's like you didn't get invited to the cafeteria, to the cool kids table. Then on top of that, like suddenly you had this like revenue stream in your head of like, oh, I'm projected to make this amount of money next year, and suddenly like shit just dove, you know.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're going to be making much less. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to sell their teams.
I know. I mean, now, oh my God, if the Super League goes through, like Manchester United, some people were saying that they're now like valued at like $10 billion.
Yeah, not much.
Like all these clubs have like almost doubled in their value after this announcement, especially if it's like actually goes through. So maybe that on some level they might be like, yeah, this is we're definitely doing this, and if it goes through, like gonna sell pretty quickly. I'm gonna
Yeah.
sell to like a Chinese billionaire or whatever, and yeah,
Well, I'm
it'll
even
just
talking
get
about
better from there.
the people that are left behind in the Premier League, right? Like suddenly they're not going to be able to count on this revenue anymore of making, let's say, I don't know, $500 million a year. Now they're
Oh yeah,
gonna
oh yeah,
dip to
I
like
know, I know.
$45 million a year, and suddenly they're gonna
Because
be like,
yeah,
this
they
isn't
want
worth
these
it.
big, yeah, they want the big six from the Premier League
Hmm.
to be in the Premier League because they know that those are the teams that generate most of the revenue in, uh, TV consumption and
Yeah,
marketing and merchandise across the world. Because there's a trickle down effect. Now they don't have to share that money because they're like, wait a minute, we're making all the money for everybody. So let's just make our own league and then just keep the profits between us.
yeah,
And it'll be even higher because Manchester United versus Burnley isn't going to get the viewers as Manchester United versus Juventus. So
yeah,
it's pretty nuts.
yeah. It is. I'll be curious how it turns out. I'm extremely curious how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to watch, that's for sure. I mean, they're definitely going to lose fans, but they're going to make up, you know, that number by an X amount.
I think something that could bite the Super League in the ass long term, though, is something that you mentioned. Like if China had something to do with it, I'm telling you, corporations just like factoring in China's money is a big mistake because eventually Super League
They
is gonna
turn.
have the exact same thing happen to them, where China's gonna be like, okay, now we have a controlling interest, or like we know that we supply 45% of your revenue. If you don't do this, then we're going to cut off all community. You're not going to be able to show any games in China or
Mhm.
whatever. And suddenly they're going to be strong armed. It's just, yeah,
Yeah. It's a dangerous game.
it's a dangerous game. A documentary by Kyle Hatley.
Yeah. That's what it's going to be called.
The rise and fall
The
of the Super
dangerous
League,
game.
and the rise and even greater rise of communism.
With our Caitlyn Jenner as the leader of the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why not indeed? Well, my friend, you want to cut it off here?
Yep.
This was an impassioned podcast. We came
Yeah.
out guns blazing on this one.
I know.
So that was
I
good.
know. I'm fired up, everybody. I'm sorry for the initial rant about politics. I mean, that's how I truly feel. But it was really inspired in large part of this Super League,
Yeah.
which still processing, and we'll have more information as it progresses. But yeah, just do your part and share your frustration, and I'm sure they'll listen.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Yeah. Throw away your Juventus jerseys.
Yeah, exactly. Burn them.
Yeah, burn them.
Burn them. We're gonna burn them.
And then buy them again with Super League logos on them.
Exactly. Yeah, buy the good ones, the new ones. It'll be better material.
Yeah, better material. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, just as a quick little final point, that actually is probably, I mean, no doubt they're going to change the jerseys and stuff like that to make them Super League, like, have them be distinguished in some way, right? So imagine if they get dropped from all like the Premier League and all
Hmm.
these like Spanish League and all that, like, imagine if people have those jerseys. Like that's probably going to eventually become like a collector's item, you know, because they don't have the Super League logo or whatever they might be.
I could see that, but also what that would enable the Super League to do would to be, we're going to come out with a jersey every week, like sort of like Oregon football team.
Yes.
They would do it every single week. And you're like, oh, that jersey's fresh, dude. I'm going to buy that one.
Yeah.
Manchester United in lime green. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll do it. They'll do it. I swear. That now I just feel like nothing's off limits.
Everything's going to get monetized. Yeah.
Yeah.
And FIFA's going to be kicking themselves. Why didn't we do that?
Yeah. It's just like the Jake Paul fight. Like,
yeah.
There's no limit on what people will be able to make money off of. Like they're making money off of non-fungible tokens now, NFTs, where it's buy this moment on camera. Like buy the moment where Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren.
Yeah, pay $100,000 for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can own that, and it'll increase. But
it'll only be yours. Only yours.
Yeah, so whatever.
Can you imagine that in a conversation? Yeah, I own that moment.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to keep
it's
talking.
Increased in value about 10% since I bought it 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, got a lot of buyers that want to buy that moment.
Yeah, it's a special moment. It's mine.
Jesus, yeah.
Strange.
Anyway, folks, that's where we'll leave things. Hopefully you were entertained by Kyle's rants. We'll check in with him next week to see how things are going.
That'd be great.
Talk to you then.